Hi guys, let's go to visualbasic.net. In this session, I'll be taking you through visualbasic.net theory tutorial for beginners. To start with, we shall look at the Visual Basic 2010 integrated development. And when you talk about the IDE or integrated development environment, this is where we see the project section, the recent project section that shows a list of projects that have been created by you recently. It will also show you the getting started pane. This one provides some helpful tips to quickly develop your applications. Also, you can see the latest news. This is when you are connected to the internet. You can get some announcement. Also, you can get the properties section. Therefore, this is the Visual Basic 2010 Express screen. This is what we shall be basically using, where you can just go to File, New, or straight here. You just go to this session here. Therefore, you can see the latest news. You can also see some of your systems that you had created. You can also launch a new system from here. Then, getting your first application. To start creating your first application, you need to click on the new project. Then the following VB 2010 new project dialog box will appear. The dialog box offers you 5 types of projects that you can create, as we are going to learn to create Windows applications. We will select Windows Form application next. At the bottom of the dialog box, you can change the default project name, that is Windows Application 1, to some other name you like. For example, you can just call it My First Program. After you rename the project, click OK to continue. The following IDE window will appear. Therefore, let's look at the IDE. Therefore, this is where you get your next screen. Down here, you can see you can change the name of your project, like in My First Program or My Calculator. Then you hit on OK. Then this next button, form appears. When you click on OK, you'll be given form 1, where we have the properties section. We have the properties section here. You can see we have back color, we have background image, font, a lot. You can just scroll here and you'll be in a position to get a lot. You can also go and hit the toolbox here. The toolbox will be next. And therefore, when you click on the toolbox tab, the common controls toolbox will appear. These are the common controls found in the toolbox. You are aware. If you went through Visual Basic 6, then you do not have much trouble having to know the functions of pointer and other controls here. Then from there, now drag the button control into the form and change its default text button 1 to OK. In the properties window, the word OK will appear on the bottom in the form as shown below. Therefore, you can just do that. Then next, click on OK button and the code window appears. Enter the code as follows. Therefore, this was just a bit of an example of how you launch a new application. And therefore, when you run your program, this is what you have after that. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we shall be doing a comprehensive practical tutorial on the same. But meanwhile, we have to go through the theory so that we can be in a position to have tips. Then controls in visualbasic.net. Therefore, these are some of the controls. Click on the toolbox tab to bring up common controls as shown in this figure here. Therefore, these are some of the common controls. We have the button, label, combo box, list box, picture box, text box, blah 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 blah. We have a lot. Then let's go to a session, a very interesting session, where ladies and gentlemen, we shall look at variables. And therefore, what is a variable? A variable is a memory location that contains a value. For example, if you talk about x, equals to 2, and you had prior informed the engine or your program compiler that declare X as a certain data type, like X, deem X as integer, or deem X as double, or deem X as string, then in that case you say X equals to Don. Don is my name. For that case, you would have declared a variable called X. Then we have rules. For you to write variables, the following are the rules when naming the variables. It must be less than 255 characters. No spacing is allowed. It must not begin with a number. Period is not permitted, that is dot. Cannot use exclamation mark or the characters at, ampersand, $sign, or hash. Cannot repeat names within the same level of scope. Therefore, we shall be looking at this in our next session, that is the practical session. Therefore, these are some of the rules when declaring a variable. Now, in Visual Basic 2010, one needs to declare the variables before using them by assigning names and data types. If you fail to do so, the program will show an error. They are normally declared in the general section of codes window using the dim statement. The syntax as follows. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, you have to use the word dim. This time round, it is a dimension, or you are declaring a memory location to use. Therefore, we use the word dim. Like here, you can see you have said dim variable name as data type. For example, you can say dim X as integer. X is the variable. Integer is the data type, and as is the keyword. Therefore, dim X as data type. For example, in this case here, you can see that we have declared dim first number as integer, dim your name as string. This string is the data type, integer is the data type also here. Then you may also combine them in one line, separating each variable with a comma. That's very important. Therefore, you can like say dim password as string, comma, your name as string, comma, first number as integer. Therefore, you can see you can combine them by separating them using a comma. Then, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at how you assign variables to how you assign values to variables. After declaring various variables using the dim statement, we can assign values to those variables. We use assignment operator here, that is equal sign. Therefore, variable equals to expression. For example, you can say first number equals to 20. This is the variable, this is the value. This is the variable, this is the value. Second number equals to first number minus 100. You can also say username equals to John Kibe. User pass dot text equals to password. Therefore, the keyword here is variable equals to expression, like first number equals to 20. You can just say my name equals to, in quotes, Don Gichai. Therefore, Don Gichai will be the value and my name would be the variable. Therefore, we can also go ahead and look at constants. This refers to a value that doesn't change. For example, we can use pi in an expression. Pi never change, therefore it is a constant. And therefore constants are different from variables in the sense that their values do not change during the running of the program. Declaring a constant. Therefore, when we are declaring a constant, we use the keyword const. This one, ladies and gentlemen, we use this const. Constant name as data type equals to value. For example, const temperature as single equals to that 7.5. Therefore, here we are declaring the variable, we are declaring the constant temp by using the keyword const. Therefore, const temp as the single. Single is the data type here. Therefore, that one takes us to constant name as data type equals to value. Then we can look at Visual Basic .NET data types. Therefore, the keyword here is data types. Visual Basic 2010 classifies the information mentioned above into two major data types. we have numeric data types and non-numeric data types. Therefore, numeric data types are types of data that consist of numbers which can be computed mathematically with various standard operators such as add, minus, multiply, divide, and so on. Therefore, we can classify the data types into numeric and non-numeric. Non-numeric are data that cannot be manipulated mathematically using standard arithmetic operators. The non-numeric data comprises text or string data types, the date data types, the Boolean data types that store only two values, true or false, or yes or no. Also object data type and variant data types. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, mark that one, that in Visual Basic.NET, data types can be classified as numeric and non-numeric. Then when you talk about numeric data types, ladies and gentlemen, you can have this schedule for your own consumption. We have byte, we have integer, long, single, double, currency, and decimal. And these are the ranges. Therefore, for your exam purposes, make sure you can be in a position to have this schedule. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can also get these notes from my website. I have dropped the URL or my website address just below this video. Then we have the non-numeric data types in Visual Basic.NET. We have string, fixed length, we have string, variable length, date, Boolean, object, variant numeric, variant text. Therefore, you can also go through this schedule. Then we have mathematical operators or arithmetic operators. Therefore, we have the operator, we have the mathematical function, and an example. For example, we have addition. This is plus or addition. You can see how I have manipulated that. We have subtraction. You can see. Then exponential. We have this one raised to. Like now, this means 3 raised to power 2 or 3 squared. Then we have multiplication. This is how it works. Then we have division. Ladies and gentlemen, division in Visual Basic or in programming, we use the /. Then we have the modulus. It returns the remainder, an integer division. Therefore, right now we have demonstrated that way. Then we have an example here. We have dim number 1, number 2, difference, product as single or as double here. Then you can have that one. Therefore, this was just an example of where difference equals to num1 minus 2. Product is num1 times num2. Then quotient, this is the answer you get when you divide, is num1 divided by that one. Then you can also try to see string manipulation. When we talk about strings, we are talking about text. String manipulation using plus and ampersand signs. Strings can be manipulated using the ampersand. This one is called the ampersand sign and the plus sign. Both perform the string concatenation. Concatenation means joining, which means combining two or more smaller strings into larger strings. For example, we can join the word visual and basic into Visual Basic. Ladies and gentlemen, just begin here. We are trying to use the concatenation or joining that is symbols to combine visual and this to have this. Therefore, using visual and this, visual ampersand basic or visual and plus basic as shown in the example below can now resort to Visual Basic. For example, don't get confused because of this. This one is put, this sentence is put by the system automatically. Therefore, dim, here we are declaring. Therefore, dim text1, text2, text3 are string, where text1 equals to visual, whereas text2 equals to basic. And therefore, the answer will be text1 plus text2. Then it will be displayed in a rainbow. And for that case, we can also have another example. You can combine more than 2 strings to form a larger string, like the following example. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the first 2 lines, these lines are from the system. Therefore, our code starts here. dim text1, text2, text3, all the way as string. Then you assign values. We have gone through how to assign, and therefore text1 equals to welcome to Visual Basic 2010. Then this one will be displayed in text6 as text1 plus all the way up to text5, and this one will be displayed on a label. Then you can combine more than two strings to form a larger string like the following. This one we have seen, sorry for repetition. And therefore running the above program will produce the following screen. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this is the answer. We shall have welcome to Visual Basic 2010. When we hit this button, remember it was on click event. Then string manipulation using inbuilt functions. A function is similar to a normal procedure, but the main purpose of a function is to accept a certain input and return a value. And therefore, a function is a procedure that returns a value. You can use the len function. The len function here stands for length. For example, len phrase, this one will count. It will count these characters. Therefore, the length function returns the integer value, which is the length of the phrase or a sentence. Therefore, when you type that one, right now, when you have Visual Basic, this is 1, 2, 3, that is 6, 1. Therefore, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then you have this one, 12, because of space. Therefore, the word Visual Basic will have 12 as the answer. That is using the len function. You can also have the right function. The right function extracts the right portion of a phrase. Like for example, Microsoft.visualbasic.write phrase in quotes, and therefore let's see what happens. Therefore, for that case, the output will be sec. It will return those parts sec there as shown here. That is for the right function. You also have the left function. It does the same, only that it gives the characters on your left. Then, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the select case statement. The select case or end select structure. This is very important as far as projects are concerned, and therefore the syntax of select case control structure is as follows. You usually have the select case test expression, then case expression list 1, a block of statement. Let's go one-on-one to an example so that you can be in a position to get it right. For example, we have examination grades, then we have declared grade, dim grade as string. Therefore, we have private sub compute. This is, we are using a button called compute on the click event, and therefore grade equals to txt grade, then case grade, case A, then this one will be displayed in a label that high distinction. In case the case is A, then we shall have in label 1 high distinction. In case it is A minus, then it will be distinction. This is high distinction, distinction. Then in case the case is B, we'll have credit. You can also go through this another example here. Therefore, this one also is dim marks are single, then marks equals to mark1.text. This is the reference text, then case mark. Therefore, if marks is greater or equal to 85, then the label will produce excellence, good, above this, depending on the cases of the marks. Therefore, those are some of the examples that you can go through, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, you can get these notes from my website. Then, this is the GUI or the GUI of what I was trying to explain. Therefore, when I key 80, then I hit calculate, then the case rate will produce A. When you hit 70, then that one will be something like A minus. Then let's go to looping control structures in Visual Basic.NET. In Visual Basic 2010 programming, a sequence of instructions that is repeated until a certain condition is met is called looping. For example, we can write a VB code that adds a series of numbers until the sum exceeds a certain value, or a VB program that asks the user to enter data repeatedly until he or she enters the word finish. In Visual Basic 2010, we have 3 types of loops. They are for loop, that is for next loop. We have the do loop, and then we have the while end or while loop. Therefore, let's begin by looking at the looping using the for next loop. The syntax for looping using the for next loop is we usually have the for, then the counter equals to start number to end number. For instance, down here we have for counter 1 to 10. That is a very good example of what this one is. That is what this depicts. Therefore, this one we have counter 1 to 10. Then, therefore, if you have to look at this example, dim counter as integer, then for counter 1 to 10, list box dot item add counter, then next. Therefore, the program will enter number 1 to 10 in the list box. Then you can also have another example here. Dim counter sum as integer, we have 1 to 100. Then step to 10, we have sum plus equals to counter. Then this one is the list box. Therefore, the program will calculate the sum of the numbers as follows. Therefore, sum equals 0 plus 10 plus 20. That way, because of the step of 10. Then you also have another example here. That is sum minus instead of now that one. Then we have step minus 5. Therefore, this is the expected solution. Then you can just peruse through other examples. Let's go to the do loop. The do loop structures is as follows. We have do while condition. Then we have the statements. Sometimes we need to exit a loop prematurely because a condition is fulfilled. The key word to use is known as exit do. Let's examine the following examples. Like now, example number 1 here, do while counter is less or equal to 1000. Then we have text box 1 dot text equals to counter, then counter plus or increment equals to 1 loop. The above example will keep on adding until counter is greater than 1000. The above example can be rewritten as follows here. Therefore, you can still rewrite it as Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the while and while loop. The structure of a while and while is very similar to the do loop. The syntax is as follows. We have the while condition, your statements, then end while. The above loop means that while the condition is not met, the loop will go on. The loop will end when the condition is met. Therefore, mark that one, the loop will continue as long as the condition is not met. We have an example here. We have dim sum and n as integer. Then while n is not equal to 100, then we shall increment this one by 1. Then we shall give sum equals to sum plus n. Therefore, if this code is exactly copied, we shall see the output. Therefore, let's go to the functions, ladies and gentlemen, that are in Visual Basic 2010. Function is a type of procedure that returns a value which is passed on to the main procedure to finish the execution. Creating user-defined functions. Therefore, to create a user-defined function in Visual Basic 2010, you can use the following syntaxes. You can have the public function name, then argument as data type, or you may also have it in the private scope where private function name, argument as data type. Then we can also pass through this important concept, passing argument by value and also passing argument by reference. Functions can be called by value or called by reference. By default, arguments in the function are passed by reference. If arguments are passed by reference, original data will be modified and no longer preserved. On the other hand, if arguments are passed by value, original data will be preserved. The key word to pass arguments by reference is by ref, and the key word to pass arguments by value is by var. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, mark that one. For instance, we have private function fv. Our function name is fv by var. Then we have the present value as single. Then we also have the I here as single, and also n as integer. Then as double, as that is as the data type. Therefore, from there we can just go and try to see the example where we get to use by ref and where we have to use by value. Like for example, dim u as single, u equals to 9. Then we have message box, we have 3 times square root of u. Then therefore this is, we shall pass the answer by ref, and therefore the value of u is now the u computed here, which is 9 by ref. On the other hand, we have used the same but by var. Therefore, we are passing it by value. Therefore, let's try to see the outcome. And therefore, for case 1, passing argument using reference, the value of u is 3. Notice that the value of u has been changed to 3. But passing argument by var on the same instance, notice that the value of u remains unchanged. Therefore, that is the difference of passing by var and passing by reference. You can still get these notes from my website for more scrutiny. Then we have the message box function. This is where you want a pop-up message box to come over. Therefore, objective of message box is to produce a pop-up message box and prompts the user to click on a command button before he or she can continue. Therefore, the syntax is your message equals to message box, prompt, style, value, and the title. Then we have the various arguments. We have the style value. We have name constant and button displayed. Therefore, for your own consumption and also for examination knowledge, you can go through this schedule. Where 0 we have VB OK only. Therefore, that one will only produce OK button. Then VB OK cancel will produce OK and cancel buttons on the that is on the message box. Therefore, we shall be doing a practical session of the same. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, keep on watching. Then we have the input box function. Down here, you can see an example of an input box where what is the message? Enter your message here. Therefore, this is an example from the above code. And therefore, the syntax, first of all, an input box will display a message box where the user can enter a value or a message in the form of text. And for that case, Microsoft Visual Basic.NET will produce input box just like below. Therefore, the code above there can be used together with the below input box. Then it's also important to go through formatting dates and time using predefined format function. Date and time can be formatted using predefined format function as shown below, where we can have format now, comma, quotes, general. Therefore, this formats the current date and time. You can also have that one wrong date, displays the current date in wrong format. We have short date, we have wrong time, and also short time. Then we also have the checkbox. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look at this dialog box screenshot here. We have the checkboxes. These are the checkboxes where I can choose the resurgent, big note. You can choose various options from the checkbox. Therefore, a checkbox allows the user to select one or more items by checking the checkbox or checkboxes concerned. Then you have the radio button. Right now here we have the t-shirt. You can only choose one. Therefore, you have chosen green for this case because green is ticked. Therefore, the radio button is another control in Visual Basic 2010 that allows selection of choices. However, it operates differently from the checkbox. While checkboxes allow the user to select one or more items, radio buttons are mutually exclusive, which means the user can only choose one item only out of a number of choices. Therefore, you can see that you can only choose one. Therefore, when you are programming, you can practice on that. Therefore, the rest part of our theory, we need to also realize that Visual Basic allows a bit of object-oriented programming, and therefore, for this case, we have encapsulation, we have inheritance and polymorphism. Therefore, you can read more on the internet about object-oriented programming properties, where we have encapsulation, we have inheritance, and polymorphism involved. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of my presentation. That is in Visual Basic .NET theory. That one is an eye-opener, and in my next session, I'll be doing a comprehensive tutorial on practical session in the Visual Basic .NET. And having gone through this one, I'm sure you have equipped yourself with the necessary skill as you wait to handle it practically. Therefore, thank you very much for watching. See you in my next session.